Hello, everyone. This is Debbie Siriani, and this is Age Friendly Chelmsford. Happy to have you. I'm the director of the Chelmsford Senior Center, and I'm also the co-chair of the Age Friendly Chelmsford Initiative. And we're happy to have two wonderful guests today. We're talking about caregiving support. And so one person that I brought is on our staff here at the Senior Center in Chelmsford, and that's April Hunt.
Thank you for having me.
Great to have you, April. And tell everybody what your, you have such a long title. Even though I'm your boss, I'm like, what is she again? So,
Elder Support Services Coordinator.
there you go. That's what she is. And so tell people a little bit about what you do at the Senior Center.
At the Senior Center, part of Elder Support Services Coordinator is I run the caregiver support group with my coworker, Colleen Normandy. It's a support group for caregivers to kind of go and talk about the things they're encountering with their loved ones with dementia or Alzheimer's.
Is that in person or on Zoom? I forgot. If
Currently
you guys
it's
are
on
still...
Zoom because we have some
like
people
that.
kind of far away. It's easier to do it if they're especially if their loved one is with them.
Yeah.
They can
And it's
attend
free.
Yes, it's free, 1 o'clock, twice a month on Mondays.
So you also run the
Companion program, yes.
yeah.
It's an amazing program
Yes.
that so many families can take advantage of.
Definitely, yes. It's the companion program is for a loved one who you're caring for at home. You can have a companion come in and give you respite so you can go and do your errands. A qualified companion will stay with your loved one, one-on-one interactions, games, puzzles, exercise. They can walk the neighborhood. They sing-alongs even, just something so that the caregiver can go and do their errands, or sometimes they even take a nap when we get there. So whatever the caregiver needs.
Yeah.
Such a vital resource. Thank you for the great work you do.
Thank you.
And April does so much more, but we only have a half an hour show, so those are the things we're highlighting right now. But then we also have a wonderful guest, Sarah Turcotte, and you're from Bridges of Epoch.
Yes, thank you so much for having me today.
Thank you so much for coming. And your title?
Sure. So I am Sarah Turcotte, and I work as an area community liaison supporting Epoch Senior Living. Mainly they're Bridges by Epoch memory care communities. And as a liaison, I am supporting our communities out with their greater community efforts. So I do work in supporting education for our local hospitals and rehabs, but also working with great centers like yourself in providing educational and support group offerings for local caregivers. We really take pride in a lot of the resources that we provide in supporting local caregivers with just support and connecting them with one another.
You've been a wonderful community partner of ours for years, really. We've worked together for so long. And so when we were talking about doing a caregiver speaker series on Monday nights to try to outreach to the community, people who may not be able to come to our senior center during our regular hours, Monday through Friday. A lot of people my age, actually, who are caring for their loved ones, their parents or their aunts, or even a lot of spouses.
You know what we call you folks?
What?
The sandwich generation.
Oh, there we are. There we are. Yep. That's
because
who
you
we
are busy working and keeping
Yes.
up with your own day-to-day lives on top of, caring for an elderly parent.
Absolutely. I'm just a big grilled cheese. Yeah. Anyways. But when we wanted to do this series, we reached out to Sarah and we said, would you like to partner with us? And it's been really lovely. April's put a lot of work into it with you to put these projects, these programs together. So I wanted to ask you to highlight some of them that we're doing.
Sure.
So they'll be starting Monday, May 12th is the first one. So that one, tell me a little bit about April, the one that's Dementia and Caregiving, Your Questions Answered. And
Yes.
that's Monday night.
Yes. Yep, they're all Monday night, starting at 6 o'clock. This one is with Karen Coppola. She's also a certified dementia practitioner. To get the ball rolling, we just wanted to have somebody who could answer all of the basic questions that caregivers have or that they don't even know they should be asking. You're never going to be prepared when you start caregiving for a loved one. New behaviors might come out, new characteristics, things that you might not be ready for. So it's good. You might have some questions, but it's good to have somebody who is kind of like you will be. You know, you'll be on hand too later on. To have somebody who has been there, the experience, so that they can answer all the questions that come up and let you know what you might be in for.
Yeah. I love that because, you know, so many caregivers, especially with dementia, when you meet one person with dementia, you meet one person with dementia.
Exactly. Yes.
And while everyone's journey is different, you know, there are common things that come up.
Yes.
And even if someone's loved one is not experiencing the difficult symptoms or behaviors that may arise, they could learn from other caregivers so that if something does start happening, they could learn from other people's questions and learn how to embrace or brace themselves for what might come down the road.
Exactly. And what to be ready for, like if you're not sure if you should start looking at assisted living, when you should, what the signs are, you know, all of those things. We just want to kind of give a basic one to start with. So that's a good one for folks to attend and just kind of get a gist of what's going on.
And not just for caregivers of dementia, people with dementia, but also caregiving in general questions.
Absolutely.
So we're trying to
Yes.
really let people know some of the issues that come up as a caregiver. And, you know, we've seen so much that people really neglect themselves. And so a lot of times what we're trying to do is take care of that person so they can care for their loved one.
Right.
And so and so we do a lot of that, family caregiving. Now you at Bridges, Sarah, also have a caregiver support
We do.
group on a regular basis. Is that Zoom?
We do. We actually offer both in-person support group sessions as well as virtual because as you shared earlier, every caregiver has a different schedule. You know, for some caregivers, it is hard because they are working full-time. It's hard to get out of the house. So doing them in the evening over the Zoom platform is very convenient. We also do offer in-person support group programs as well as monthly education. I mean, this month, one of our topics is understanding wandering. And next month, we actually have the ethics of fibbing. Because sometimes
that's a
reality
great one.
orientation can be tough for people living with dementia. But what I love about our in-person programs is that we do allow folks to bring their memory-impaired loved one for them to do an engagement opportunity while the caregiver does the program with other caregivers. And it's wonderful because it gives that caregiver a little bit of respite time, but it also allows their loved one to benefit from engagement and stimulation and connecting with their community. So it's really a win-win opportunity. And I'm excited because with Planning with April, some of the programs that we'll be offering with your Monday Night Caregiver series, we're going to have a program for people to bring their memory-impaired loved one with them.
So you're the speaker on the second one. If you look at the second slide, then we have effective communication techniques, and that's with Sarah.
Yes.
And we will have, you will have some of your staff, and we may have some of our staff in the building to be able to provide that,
support
for loved ones and their families both.
Yes, absolutely. And it's going to be a wonderful opportunity because, again, it can be hard, you know, finding a caregiver or hiring a home health aide for just an hour or two. So to allow that barrier to be removed and for you to bring your loved one, you know, you don't have to worry about someone coming to your home. But I also think about that engagement opportunity. You know, that engagement and stimulation is great for both the caregivers to connect with other people and share those resources, as well as their memory impaired loved one. I mean, people at home are just not getting enough engagement and stimulation.
Absolutely, caregivers included.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
I want to jump on that fibbing though, because we do want to touch upon that while in these series, because so many people, especially if they're younger, find it so hard to kind of fib or go along with what their loved one is, talking about.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we've got to kind of emphasize that it's okay to do that.
Yeah,
You're entering their world, and in their world, that's what's going on. So you're not really fibbing because it's in their world.
Absolutely. It comes from a place of compassion.
Yes.
Right? Reality orientation can be hard for someone who's living with a cognitive impairment. A classic example is someone who may be looking for their mom, and their mom has been passed for over 10 years or more, and reality orienting her that their mom has passed away, they're reliving that grief again.
Every single time they hear it.
So
Yes.
how can we utilize communication techniques to bridge better communication and not create kind of
Distress.
turmoil and distress, right, when these moments come up? And that's why this, topic, effective communication, is so popular, because people do have a hard time connecting with people with dementia as their ability to speak may diminish, or sometimes, aphasia can be difficult to navigate and communicating, and sometimes we have to be better about learning body language and what are they trying to communicate. So this program is going to be great because we're going to talk about common threads that we see in communication, but also allow caregivers to ask questions and maybe share some of the challenges they're facing so that we can help them to have better communication with their loved one.
Exactly.
This one would be a wonderful one to go to if your friend is also going through this.
Yes.
And you're trying to
Exactly.
find some ways to stay connected to that friend.
100%.
Because I see a lot of that where people just kind of lose that friendship because they're not really sure how to be with that person anymore. And
that's when they really
appreciate you
need
saying
somebody.
that.
Yeah, they really need somebody when they're going through this. They need their friends.
Right.
Absolutely.
So our next one we're having on Monday, June 2nd. Tell me a little bit about that, April.
Yes, this is supporting independence, and the speaker will be Nicole McGeeran. I hope I'm pronouncing her name right. She's from the Alzheimer's Association. She's going to be talking about, and we do have quite a few loved ones who still live on their own, and the children come and visit them or check in on them all the time. And there's a hard line between how much independence do you keep, do you let them have, and then when do you start kind of taking the reins in? Especially, we're going to be talking about maybe when is a good time to take the keys away, when to start taking over the bills, and another topic a lot of people don't think about, do they have firearms? When should you maybe think about taking the firearms or locking them up, or how to address firearms in general?
Yeah.
So that to me is a very important topic.
It is, and I think it will lend information for caregivers to act before a crisis. I mean, all of those topics are very important, and these conversations and education should come before a crisis. So I love that you're having her for this topic.
Right. And when to contact the police and maybe give a picture of your loved one in case they do start wandering later on, or that a lot of times paranoia sets in and they may call the police on their own. So if you've already kind of alerted the police that, my loved one is recently diagnosed with dementia, they might already have it on record, so they're kind of aware of that this might happen.
Absolutely.
And there are lots of technology things too, like the safety net program that the police have partnered with us. We'll have all kinds of information there for you, and also at the senior center all the time, and at Bridges, we have lots of information and resources for you, and that's what we're trying to do, is just offer all those so that you know that there's information out there, and that we're here. If you can't make it to these events, you know our number, and call us. So we're around to offer you those types of little tricks that have worked for a lot of other people. So Sarah, you put a really wonderful a panel discussion together for Monday, June 9th. Can you tell me a little bit about who's coming to that?
Yeah, thank you so much. I mean, this is incredible that you guys are putting together this effort because, again, it doesn't come with the handbook, right? When you become a caregiver to anybody, it doesn't come with the handbook. So the panel we put together are really local professionals and resources that caregivers most have the most questions about. Yeah. So we have Margaret Hoag, who is with Eckel, Hoag, and O'Connor Attorneys of Law, locally in Acton, and she's going to be talking about legal considerations and planning for the future. You know, what documents need to be in place? You know, what happens if those documents are not in place? And really having that overall education as to what you really need to have as a caregiver, what legal documents should be in place so that you do not have to experience a crisis. So I think it will
maybe when to
and
start.
when to start, exactly, because people, even with a dementia diagnosis, some people still have the ability to sign legal forms. So again, early diagnosis, having these conversations earlier on truly help families when it comes to their planning for their future.
Or even if they don't have dementia, again, like if someone wanted to come with their parent, and it would really kickstart that conversation of, Mom or Dad, what would you like me to do to help? Or how can we set things up so that I can make sure I support you and what you want, or what kind
You
of
and I
things
would
you
benefit
like?
from this
Well,
this
I know.
presentation. Because for the grace of God, there go I. It's not just dementia. I mean, someone could have a stroke. Someone could have a terrible accident. I mean, life can change in a moment's notice. And the last thing you want to do as anyone's caregiver, whether it be dementia or if you've suddenly become someone's caregiver, you don't want to have to go through court. You don't want to have to go through probate to advocate for your loved one. And really, at the end of the day, these are what these documents help caregivers do. We also have another panelist, Joanne Fontaine. She's a local geriatric care manager as well as a nurse. And one of the big reasons she's coming is because most people don't realize what a geriatric care manager is and the wonderful resources and support that they can provide families when it comes to just navigating healthcare, doctor's appointments, family dynamics. Not every family has a close, tight-knit relationship, and family dynamics can be really difficult to work through.
Absolutely.
So someone like a geriatric care manager is wonderful because they're a neutral resource that can really help guide families, keeping that one person that everyone has that common goal in mind for. So I'm really looking forward to hearing her insight. And then we have the wonderful Colleen Normandy, who works at the Chelmsford COA with the Adult Day Health Program.
Yep. Actually, the Social Day program.
I'm sorry, the Adult Day Social Program. Thank you for correcting me.
It's a little different.
It is.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons I'm excited to hear her speak, because there are different models of care when it comes to social engagement and opportunities. And the program you're running at the Chelmsford COA with the Social Day program is top notch. I mean, you guys really do a wonderful, wonderful job with that program. And I think it's important for caregivers to know if their loved one qualifies for a program like this, what are the benefits? I mean, there are benefits for their loved one when it comes to that engagement and stimulation and that sense of community, but also what are the benefits for the caregiver?
Yes.
They do not give themselves enough time. So really, overarching how this program can support both the caregiver and their loved one.
Because if the caregiver gets run down, who looks after their loved one?
Exactly.
Yes.
Well, and that's exactly it. Sometimes we worry more about the caregiver than the person actually living with dementia or whatever it is, because the caregivers are putting themselves on the line each and every day.
And there's so much guilt involved. There's so much anger. I mean, not to mention any relationship kind of dynamics you already had with this person.
Exactly.
It's so difficult, and it's not easy. But there is help out there, and there is support, and so we want people to know that for sure.
And then I'll be a delight to be a part of the program. And I'm going to be just talking about memory care support options, because there are so many different options out there. And there's something for everybody, whether you're caring for someone at home or you need more comprehensive care and you're looking at placement options. So we're really going to talk about what are the various memory care support in our local community and what questions to ask when you're exploring these places, because a lot of times people might not know what to ask. You know, can my loved one age in place? You know, is your nursing team there 24 hours, or are they on call overnight? You know, just little questions that caregivers can ask as they're exploring different options and resources for their loved one.
That's excellent. Thank you so much for putting that together. That's a great panel. I'm looking forward to learning from these as well and going. So, and I've been in the business, the service for very, very many years, but I'm always looking forward to learning more so we can share with the people who need it, and this is a great thing. So I want to say, so over the weekend, I went with one of my very, very best friends to go visit Bridges and to visit her mom. And I have to say that she is thriving there. She is happy there. And she was home and alone and not able to live with other family members and such for various reasons or willingness to. But finally, she moved into that place. And some people feel like, oh, I feel so guilty because I'm putting my mom in a home or whatever. And so I just saw her thrive there. Oh. She's happy, she's healthier, and it's not always a bad thing. She's more engaged than before. She's, I think, happier than she's been for many years. And so I want to highlight that to people because there is a big stigma about, having services in or going to, live in a different home or a different situation. And it's not always a bad thing. It was wonderful. So I was really happy to see her.
Thank you for sharing that. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for creating that space.
Thank you. And I appreciate the education that you're going to be providing, because I think that this is going to help people to understand, that there is a support for everyone. And most people, once they do come to a support group or an education program, or they do go to Colleen's social day program, they're like, why did I wait so long?
Why didn't I know about this before?
All
That's why we're here. That's why we're on TV.
Let the people know.
So I'm hoping that these programs will help break the ice. And also, I'm really excited that you have some other programs besides the education, too. I heard that caregivers might be able to sign up for a massage during
Thank you. Wow, she just puts it like this.
Wow,
and I go,
segue.
So this is something that the Friends of the Senior Center are supporting financially, and I've wanted to do for years. And April organized it for me. I was like, April, I have this great idea. Okay, and then she put it all together. It was wonderful. Yep. So April, tell me a little bit about what you put together for starting April 24th.
Yes, I contacted Beyond Day Spa. They're coming in. They will have a professional masseuse come in who will either give you a neck/shoulder massage or a hand massage. They also trained all of my companions on how to give a gentle, soothing hand massage so they can do that with all of their clients. It really is very relaxing, and if they're having a bad day or they're a little agitated, a little bit, oil on the skin and then, a little bit of hand massage is wonderful. But the caregivers might be very stressed as well, especially in the neck. We see that a lot. Yep. So we've got 4 Thursdays in a row. I believe it's April 24th, May 1st. Can't see without my glasses.
I know,
May 8th and May 15th, at various times. So just call the Senior Center and book yourself. It's a 15-minute appointment, and the massage itself and the gratuity are all taken care of of the friends.
Yes, they're so wonderful. And I'm talking about caregivers who are taking care of people with dementia, caregivers who take care of their adult children with mental illness or other developmental
Parkinson's.
issues.
Yes.
People who are taking care of, who are moms at home. We are not going to card at the door. If you are a stressed out caregiver, we are a community and we want to take care of you. So call and sign up.
Yep. I wanted to backtrack too on something you had just mentioned about not the guilt that comes with, is it time? Should I let my loved one, or should I consider putting them, maybe in a memory care unit? The first line of defense are the day programs, the support groups, the companion program.
Exactly.
You want to keep your loved one at home for as long as possible. But then as it does move on, so many of our caregivers have said when their loved one is in assisted living, they can then give them one-on-one when they visit. It's totally all of them.
Their family member again instead of a nurse, right?
Exactly. Yeah, they're not trying to get dinner ready or do laundry while their loved one is asking them a question. They can totally focus on them, and their relationship almost gets better.
Oh, I love that. Let's end on that. I love
Yes,
that idea.
this has been great. Thank you for this.
Thank you very much,
Thank you.
both of you, for
Yes.
being here, for all the work that you do for this.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Have a wonderful month.